This is homework 15 for Mr. Reed's Year 10 class. It's due in on Friday as usual. If you get stuck, you can come and see me, ask for help. It's better if you get on with it early in the week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, then you've got plenty of time to ask if you are stuck. So we start on question 1. Now, we've been doing these topics in class recently, but that doesn't mean that it will just be easy. You've got to think very carefully about how to draw the appropriate graph and then shade in the correct side of the line in order to shade that inequality. I will give a hint. It's a big hint. We've talked about this in class. If it's got a little equals bar like this one does, it's a solid line. If it's got no equals bar, it's a dotted line or a dashed line, so that's something to think about. Also, once you've drawn your line, we talked about that rule in class about when y is bigger than the graph, you end up shading above the line. So hopefully that will be enough information to get through that whole page. This is slightly different to the others. We're talking about vertical lines here and shading in between. On to question 2. Given two graphs, we've got this first graph here and the second graph here. You have to write down the equations of those graphs. On to question 3. Now you do need to read the question carefully. We've got a pair of simultaneous equations. And he says solve them simultaneously, and you can do that algebraically, but not on this homework question. It says you must use a graphical method. We've done a question like that last week for homework. You should be getting good at this now. Draw the appropriate graphs, find where they meet, and you can write your answer as a place. And these hints should help you out. I haven't actually tried this question yet, so it could be a whole number answer right on the grid somewhere easy, or it could be partially through a square somewhere and you need to use decimals to estimate your answer. You will find out when you do it. If you want to check you've got it right, get on Desmos, have a look, type the equations in and see if you've done it properly. On to question 4. We've just started the topic of ratio last week, and this is just some simple practice simplifying your ratios down, which is very important at the start of all questions. So we've got to simplify those, and then you'll see on the next page, question 5, we're actually sharing using ratio. Now these questions are as easy as it gets on this topic, just sharing this amount into these portions or parts. Simplify here before you begin, otherwise you're just making your life difficult. If we move on to the next page, you'll see it's the next step up on this problem, on this topic of ratio. Let's have a look. This is where we're sharing, and actually we don't know the total. So read each question carefully and think about the fact, let's say on question A, these two people are sharing some amount of money in this ratio, but actually Bob's getting more money than Jim. So think about how many extra shares he gets and how you could share this extra money into those extra shares and what that would mean about the total. That's the most difficult ratio question to do with sharing that you can see, and that's where you don't know the total. That's it for this homework. We're at the end now, so please crack on with it. Ask for help if you're stuck, and I'll be available at break time or lunchtime if you need to speak to me about it. That's it.